Okay, Year 12, someone's asked about questions 3 and 6 from exercise 1201. So remember that this whole exercise is arithmetic. So you're going to be using these 3 formulas to find the term in an arithmetic series or to find the sum in an arithmetic series. So let's have a look at question 3. Now in question 3, they word this quite unusually. A set of books is stacked in layers, where each layer contains 3 books fewer than the layer below. So the top layer has 6. So I've got 6, and then the next layer 9, and the next layer 12, all the way up. And this is the top layer, the first, the second, the third. I'm going up to the nth layer. So whenever you do one of these, it's quite important to write down, well, what do you know? Well, my first term is 6. It's an arithmetic series or sequence, so my difference is 3. It's going up by 3. And what do I need to find? I need to find how many are in the nth layer. And remember, that's A plus N minus 1 times D, which is 6 plus N minus 1 times 3. A simple multiplication, 6 plus 3N minus 3 equals 3N plus 3. Now, that's part A. Part B says show that there are that equation of books in all the stacks together. Now here's where you have to be smart to save yourself some time. You could use this formula here, and I think that's what they do. But I'm going to use this formula because I know A is 6, and I know the nth layer is 3n plus 3 because I just worked it out. So for part B, the sum of all the layers is n on 2, the first term, 6, plus the last term, or the nth term, 3n plus 3. Well, that's n on 2, 3n plus 9. I'm going to factorise out that 3. And I get n plus 3. If I take, remember I take 3 out of here, and I'll get 3 outside of n plus 3. And that's what I need. Now in question 6, the whole point of this is that we're applying this to financial situations. It's where we're going to head. And in question 6, they ask about simple interest. Now with simple interest, you're just increasing the amount, the principal, by a set percentage every year. And it's the same amount. There is no compound that's going to come with geometric series. There's no compounding. There's no interest earned on interest. It's just a set amount. So what's our principal? Our principal is $2,000 and our interest rate is 2.5%. So in question 6, A equals 2,000. And our difference each year is going to be 2.5 on 100 of the 2,000. And again, or I use my calculator for that, And I'll just get that up. Where are we? Is it on the desktop? There it is. Okay. So 2.5 divided by 100 times 2,000. $50. So every year, this investment with simple interest is going to earn me $50. Now, this is where you've got to be careful, because once we're talking about years, because you don't earn interest, you earn interest at the end of the year. So after 1 year, I've got $2,050. Now, if you started with your first term as the 2,000, you'd have to remember that after 1 year would be your T2. So you have to be really careful. You can go either way. You can use that method as long as you understand that after 1 year is your term 2. So I'm going to take this approach because it just makes a little bit more sense. So after 2 years, I've got 2,000 and another $50, 2,100. And after the 3rd year, I've got 2,150. Each year I'm adding $50. Now remember, if you were doing this method, you still get the same answers. You've just got to remember that your terms are 1 minus, which is how you write it anyway. Okay, so that's A, B, and C, the answers to, or here, A, B, and C. Now D, this is where you have to be smart and think about, well, what did I use? Which method? I have to find after 10 years. Now, if I'm using this method, I'm just going to find T of 10. But if I'm using this method, I'm going to find T of 11. I'm going to do both, but then I'm only going to do one for the last bit. T of 10 using this method, where my A is 2,050, is A plus n minus 1 times D, which is 2050 plus 10 minus 1 times 50, which is 2,500. Or I can find T of 11 of this series, so a different series, which is going to be 2,000 plus 11 minus 1 times 50, which is 2,500. Well, whichever method you use, it all depends on what you're going to write as your starting point and how you're going to write your series. So E, I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to go T of 30 equals A plus n minus 1 times D. My A is 2,050 plus 30 minus 1 times 50. I'm going to use my calculator this time. So 2,050 plus 29 times 50, 3,500. And that is simple interest. All right, keep the emails coming in.